Radio Free Skaro!
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Radio Free Skaro, episode number 962. I am Stephen in Edmonton.
Warren in Vancouver.
And Chris in Edmonton.
We are officially at the halfway point of season 1.
Episodes, but not time. Yeah.
Episodes time. Yeah, that's true. Which is somewhat shocking and alarming, but here we are. This is the way of TV these days. 8-episode seasons.
You asked for this.
I did ask for it. Yep. And that's what we'll be doing. We'll be talking today about the episode called, as I scramble for my thing, 73 yards. There we go. Which, as I reasoned before, is the longest ever field goal attempt in Super Bowl history. That's not actually true. But it could
have fooled me.
It could have fooled me. Bless my soul.
It's how much yarn was needed for Tom Baker's scarf.
That actually feels... Cat will correct us in the chat, but that feels low.
I call that insta-lore.
Is.
Just created lore.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what. I mean, usually I throw to either of you to kick us off. If you allow me, I think I'd like to maybe start off with an opening statement of some sort. Because I want to talk about. I do want to talk about a story where the companion encounters a seemingly harmless and charming cultural artifact, accidentally changes history and erases the Doctor from her timeline. People run screaming from her for some reason. She has her whole life fall apart, even gets help from a secret military organization, eventually goes back in time to stop herself from making that one wrong decision that started this all in the first place. But enough about turn left. Let's talk about...
Sliding doors.
73 yards. Which, I got to tell you, a lot of people love.
Mm-hmm.
And I woke up at 5:30 this morning thinking about still how much it annoyed me.
Oh, wow. Okay. We're going to have a differences of opinion here.
You're okay, Stephen. Lay it on us here.
Come on.
So,
I'm
mean,
curious.
I love the feel of it early on. It's all spooky and everything like that. But the thing makes no damn sense insofar that there's a woman in 73 yards away from Ruby for the bulk of her life, and she's saying something. She's making motions, and then eventually, like everyone gets like scared by it or something, and completely shuts her out of their life because it happens quick. And at the end, apparently, like they merge to become the same person, and then she travels back in time to warn herself to not step on the fairy circle. Did I pick that up? Or is that basically the gist of what happens? Right?
Kinda, yeah.
Kind of. I mean, part of me is wondering if we're going to get any more of the story later.
And
if that's going to help to quell any confusion.
Well, if we get that's dumb.
I assume the answer is no.
Because in Unleashed, Doctor Who Unleashed, Russell T Davies says, you will never hear what she says to anyone. Whatever the mysterious woman. You know what?
She says, it doesn't matter.
It does matter, and that's what annoyed me the most about this.
I'm with Chris on this one. It actually...
I will tell you why.
It's the effect that it has that matters, not what she says.
Yeah, I agree with Chris on that.
What can possibly be said in like 3 seconds that immediately has everyone turn around and look at Ruby and go, I hate you. Well, I am cutting you from my life.
Let me
your mother.
Whole 9 yards, yeah.
Let me meta explain this. It's like in horror where you don't see the gore. Basically, that's what's effective.
I don't think it's effective at all because it's apparently a warning to herself. This whole thing is a warning to herself 65 years in the past by the time that she sort of merges with herself, right? And it's nothing is seeded, like it reminded me of spoilers for Game of Thrones.
Oh no.
I know when Hodor, everyone's going, why is Hodor? Hodor was the big hulking guy who carried Bran around after he had his legs broken in the first episode of season 1.
And a fine DJ, by the way.
A fine DJ, Icelandic DJ.
Apparently,
And everyone, why is he called Hodor? Or why is the only thing that he ever says is Hodor? And then they sort of seeded it through there. And then when you find out, is that like Bran sort of like has a way of like warging into like people's brains or something to get them to do things. And there was
give us a
scene,
little Spock.
There's a scene where they had to like escape from all these skeletons charging at them and stuff, and so they quickly said to Hodor, hold the door. And so he had to go there, and he's like basically, and he wargs back and like into his youth or something when he's just a normal kid, and all of a sudden he just like starts twitching and stuff because his brain's been occupied, and he just yells out, hold the door, hold the door, hold the door, hold the door, and eventually just merges into Hodor, and everyone goes, oh my god, that's why he says Hodor, because he's holding the door at the very end, and it was like tragic. And this is such a get out of jail free card for Russell T Davies in that I don't have to write anything because it doesn't matter.
So,
and so that's what annoys me. Nothing is seeded throughout this to say what that is. And even in the confidentials, he's just saying, I like this. I don't know what to do. But, it's nonsense. It's never intended to be answered. And so he can write whatever he wants in there.
Very correct.
And that's what annoys me, is because there's no dramatic impetus for Ruby to do whatever she's doing. Why is she ruining her life and making herself completely alone, apart from the woman that's 73 yards away from her, to warn herself 65 years in the past? It makes no sense, and it bugs the hell out of me. And I watched that episode, and I watched it twice.
Because the climax depends on it.
What? It doesn't depend on it. It's just because it depends on it doesn't mean you could just say, I'll wash it away. There's no point. She says nothing. She says nothing. It is not earned. It annoyed the hell out of me. I hated that part of the episode. I loved everything else, but the entire premise of the episode falls apart for me because there's no reason for her to do that. It's dumb.
I enjoy Neil's remark. It's the briefcase in Pulp Fiction. Don't waste any time thinking about it. Stephen, I know you've never seen Pulp Fiction because you don't watch movies.
Seen Pulp Fiction. I've seen Pulp Fiction.
Okay.
Yeah, I have. Yeah.
So, I mean, there's at the time and afterward, there's all the talk about what's in there. Like, is it Marcellus Wallace's soul, or is it like whatever?
It's a MacGuffin. It's a MacGuffin.
It doesn't matter. It is an absolute MacGuffin. An absolute MacGuffin. And
I think this is way more. This is way more important than a MacGuffin. It's way more important than a MacGuffin. It's something that makes people run away from her. It makes Unit just sort of say, disengage, get out. Like what? Why? And you can make that hugely.
But why does it matter?
Because it's not seeded, it's not earned. Is it what are they is it something that the lady is saying? Is it a magic spell? Because apparently magic is now part of Doctor Who. What is it? We don't get any hint, and we aren't meant to get any hint, and therefore you can make it whatever you want, and therefore it's both important and meaningless at the same time. And it's not seeded properly or at all. And Anaran, what's his name? Roger Abgwilliam just runs off. He does not even he doesn't even look at Ruby Sunday 73 yards away. He just runs off. So it affects people differently, and like it happens with like in 3 seconds, and it really ruined the episode for me. I gotta say it ruined it.
Okay.
Yep. I watched it twice, and as I say, I woke up early. It kept me up. I hate episodes of Doctor Who that either put me to sleep or keep me from sleeping for the wrong reasons, and this is in the latter category. I didn't sleep because of this episode because it annoyed me so much. 73 yards.
Okay.
Yep.
Tell us how you really feel, though.
It's other than that, it was brilliant. It was Millie Gibson. It was great. It was the first episode they shot because Ncuti Gatwa was off sex education. Yeah. So they had to start with a Dr. Light episode essentially, and
which feels like such a cheat for an 9-episode run that we have a Dr. Light episode.
Also, it was only 49 minutes. I didn't even press play. I've been busy ranting about this damn episode. And it didn't breathe enough. I also felt like we just zipped through the aspects of her life. And I didn't feel like we really got to know who Ap Gwilliam was, just because the doctor mentioned him in the first scene, and then we never really see him after that.
Chekhov's prime minister.
Yeah, and we just sort of see him in the background. Oh, I guess you want to launch nukes and everything, and we see like two things, and then there's there's sexual abuse alluded to as well. And that's how we really know he's a monster, and then he's out. And I don't really get the idea that we knew him that much. And of course, it reminds me a lot of Turn Left. I feel like this is something we've already more or less done. In the end, this episode meant nothing, because at the end they just hit the reset button and we're done. So we basically had a meaningless episode of Doctor Who.
Technically, so did Turn Left.
I know, exactly.
Which I love.
Exactly,
I think Turn Left's great. But
I think it's great, but it is in the long run completely meaningless because nothing happens. Anyway, I've hogged the floor enough. I feel like I'm one of few people who actually do not like this episode and what they did with it. So I yield my time to you two, who quite clearly enjoyed it a lot more than I do.
Well, neither of us have said that.
I've been silent this whole time to let you rant.
Yeah. Do you want to go, Warren, or do you want me to go?
Sure, I can go. I concede most of what you just said there, Stephen. That's absolutely technically correct.
Right.
On the other hand, I've seen people describe this as vibes-based, and to its peril or its credit, that is what it is. It's vibes-based. I was thinking about that the whole time. I was like, I don't know if any of this makes sense. It is affecting me, so it's working on some level. Basically, I hate to be the guy, but I'm going to do this, where you compare RTD and Moffat. When Moffat does a big swing, like let's say Listen or Heaven Sent, it's intricately constructed. When RTD does a big swing, and this can either work or it doesn't, and I think it kind of works here, it's a big ass swing, right? Yeah. And he does, the way I described it was Stones of Blood to Years and Years Pipeline, because there's some serious years and years in his. Like,
I never saw that, but
Years and Years is great, but also it does some just way out there stuff that you're like, well, I guess I'm going with this, or I'm not, right? And a few things I didn't, and a few things I did, and this is kind of like that.
Pity they couldn't get in Emma Thompson again.
Well, yes. Who is genuinely chilling, and a better Roger Ap William, or whatever the hell his name is.
Roger Rabbit William.
I keep wanting to say Roger Whittaker for some reason.
I heard Roger Rabbit William. It was what I heard.
I said Ap William, but whatever. Well, let's just call him Roger Rabbit William from now on. Definitely the stuff you said completely makes sense, but also it did affect me emotionally when they're talking to, I don't understand either. What does she say that makes people hate Ruby, as opposed to she's running away, sure, whatever, but just her mother absolutely hating her for some reason.
Come on.
But as somebody,
why would she do that on purpose? Why would she do that?
But hold on,
in her life.
That doesn't make any sense. I agree.
It doesn't make any sense.
But as somebody who walks around trying to convince themselves everybody doesn't hate him either, it did affect me. Oh. So I'm like, I'm not the only one watching this who's like, oh, pull it out of my heart.
Why would making her life miserable be crucial to her having to stand 73 yards away from Roger Ap Gwilliam at that exact moment in the soccer stadium?
Also, how does she travel back in time for some reason?
How does she travel back in time?
But it's all interesting regardless.
When does she travel back? She doesn't travel back in time.
Well, she merges with herself or something. Yeah. Is that like the fairy circle thing?
Yeah, maybe.
Sure.
That's
ish. Sure. I guess
it doesn't
what we're
matter
doing
enough
now.
for me to really lose sleep over it like you did. Although I lost sleep over even dumber stuff.
Yeah.
so I generally liked it with the caveat that they're stretching here a little bit. My biggest problem is with Roger Ap William, because 40 years later, or whatever it is, she's 40 and then she's 80, and I'm like, I didn't mind that part. That was an interesting way to go with it. But Roger Ap William outright says, I want to nuke everybody, and everybody's like, that seems reasonable. And I'm like, and pre-2016, I would have said, no, that's just ridiculous. And now I'm like, oh no, he's a maniac, and for some reason we think that's fine. And he leaves NATO.
He doesn't say that, Warren.
What's that?
He doesn't say that. Because when it's brought up during the news interview, he ends the interview. It's his aide that tells that to Ruby.
Okay, it's strongly implied that this guy wants to nuke everybody. Otherwise, where's the threat? Right?
But he doesn't say it.
No, whatever. Okay, sure, fine. But the point is, he is the threat of the thing, and because, as the doctor says, he almost nuked everybody, right? So that is the implied threat there. But anyway, he just, it's another one. It's like the master becoming the prime minister, which I maintain he may be the new master. So just to throw that one in the mix.
There was some Saxon-esque kind of leanings there,
and
too.
And not Saxon-esque, also years and years-esque stuff, right? Where it's just like, okay, we're verging into self-parody here, but unlike years and years where you've got 6 episodes to do it or whatever it was, here it's within 10 minutes, right?
I know. And
so the App William, I understand where you're going with this, but it was a bit of a stretch, you know?
Yeah.
But having said that, you needed something, and I found it all interesting. The vibes of it were interesting. I watched it and said, I'm going to watch that again. And I said, no, don't. You'll probably poke a million holes in it. Just enjoy it for what it is and don't go back to it. Sammy, that's kind of my take on it. I liked it. I see what your point is.
Chris? You have thoughts?
Oh, of course I have thoughts.
Okay, it's good.
Notes too, probably, I hope.
Yeah, you have notes.
I've got a handful of notes as well for later on. The initial buzz I had heard about this was positive.
Me too. Maybe that's why. Maybe I should stop listening to buzz about it because I heard a lot of
Don't listen to fans. What are you doing?
I know. It's like, oh wow, this was good and stuff. It's like, oh wow.
And disappointment.
Yeah, a little bit, I guess.
The buzz going into it for the most part was quite positive. So I was very much looking forward to it for that reason. I don't know how much I want to get into some of the stuff at this point, but so number one, I don't care what she says.
Yeah, I know you don't.
I don't care what she says.
It bugs me a little, but yeah.
It's the effect, it's the impact. The action is irrelevant. It's okay to try to figure out what she says that takes so little time and has such a large impact. But again, it's the impact that matters, especially when it comes to
Unit for one. That was like whoa.
To Ruby's
why
Ruby's
is
mom.
Unit backing away?
That too, yeah.
That
but that is effective, is what that was.
But you don't have to cash that check. It's a blank.
Yeah, it's Chris's turn.
One thing at a time. Unit comes later.
All right.
So when it comes to Ruby's mom, that's the main thing. She takes out a restraining order, as we find out a year afterward. She runs. She's like, "Don't call me again." Changes the locks, a whole night, all that stuff. That's because the doctor's disappearance and the Ruby not really doing like friendships or anything later on as life progresses. Whatever, it's all down to her abandonment issues.
Right,
being ditched as a child at the church. That's set up in episode 1/special 4, and it's just being carried through. We have 2 separate instances of snowfalls in here, which kind of signify that as well.
That's true. Could be actual snowfall too.
When it comes to units, I mean, Kate Stewart goes so far as to say, we've got psychic training and this and that, whatever. The point, or at least my takeaway from that, was whatever the nature of this creature is, it's stronger than all of Unit's training and abilities and gizmos.
Guess so. Even though it's just Ruby herself.
Is it?
I see. I mean, she inhabiting another.
It is. It is, but it isn't. But it is. But it isn't. But it is. Because at the end, when she's dying. I mean, that's the first and only time we see the apparition, whatever, the woman. That's the first and only time we see them closer than 73 yards. Possibly because her room isn't going to be 73 yards long.
Right.
But, so that's kind of signifies the end game, I guess. But, yeah, it is a little ambiguous. Like, was it Ruby all along? Was it not Ruby? Is it this now merged thing that went back to give Ruby the warning so the doctor doesn't step in the fairy circle? I'm okay with that. Really? I don't have to know every last detail.
No.
Good.
What happened to Chris?
Good storytelling can leave a lot to the imagination.
Listen does the same thing.
Listen does a lot of that, and we all
better than
jizz.
Yeah,
over
I would
Listen.
say you're right. It does do better.
Listen does it better than, let's say, Extremist, another episode that I felt really let down on, which also took sort of a big swing from Stephen Moffat. You know, I get a similar reaction to Extremis that I did to this. Just like
okay, yeah,
let down by.
And similarly, I didn't really hate Extremis, but
yeah,
I didn't love it either.
Core element of it.
And then also, don't forget that when they're at the restaurant, Kate Stewart says, I didn't take the exact line down, but something about this timeline being tied to Ruby.
This being suspended or something like that. Yeah, it was a...
That was a your arms are longer comment. It's like, where'd that come out of nowhere and probably means something.
Is Kate cognizant that this is all something that's not going to exist eventually? Or
yeah, that seems like something they're going to seed for later.
Maybe. I mean, we know from the trailer, from the big trailer, that Unit's coming back with like, you know, Rose Noble and
Mel.
And Mel and
Mel and yeah.
I was half expecting to see Mel somewhere in the cadre of Unit folks in this. just even if it's just like a background shot of Bonnie.
Just looking at Ruby, just disgusted.
Yeah. On the whole, so I'm choosing to decide that the woman was Ruby all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And my reaction when I watched it last night, like I was with it the whole time until that reveal, and then I'm like, what the absolute
fudge.
F.
I think I was like, how is this gonna go? How's this gonna go? Like I didn't know where it was going. I didn't I didn't either. The episode kept me guessing, and I didn't know where it was happening. And then
generally a good thing.
It is, and then
you get this cheap, tawdry, ass-tastic reveal,
right?
And it just, I'm not saying it doesn't ruin the whole thing, but man, it sullies it.
It did, didn't it?
And then they go and create a frickin' paradox at the end just for good measure.
Now I can't get Christopher Eccleston saying "ass-tastic" out of my head.
Yeah, the paradox at the end, exactly, and they didn't really solve anything.
Again, the master. You could create a paradox machine.
I guess so. I guess that's what it is.
And then, as a result, of course, because Ruby is guided to stop the Doctor from stopping the fairy circle, none of that happens, i.e. part of the paradox.
Yeah.
But as the net effect is now, she hasn't learned a damn thing.
No.
She knows nothing about anything more than she knew going into the story. So the whole story is utterly meaningless.
Yep.
That was a fun ride, though. And sometimes a fun ride ain't bad.
Turn left is no different.
Turn left is better.
You're not wrong
I
there,
love
Stephen.
turn left.
Is definitely no different there.
It is.
And it's mostly vibes, too, let's be honest.
Yeah, because Donna forgets everything that she learns in that. Apart from everything,
but Donna's the
bad
goat,
wolf
so
at the end. Yeah.
Part of why I like it more.
Up until the reveal at the end, I was on board 8,000%. Like, wow. I was enjoying that ride so hard.
Mm-hmm.
And even stuff like Unit talking, or kids who were talking about, Unit's, I'm going to dip into my notes here. What was the line?
Yeah.
For Unit investigating the supernatural now. Things seem to be turning more and more that way these days.
Mm-hmm.
We now have necklaces with salt and silver or garlic or whatever.
Yeah.
Silver and salt, which made me
Vampire
think of
werewolf story confirmed. Underworld.
Which made me think of Battlefield with the Doctor saying to Alistair Gordon Lethbridge Stewart, "Do you have silver bullets now?" And that being the vehicle.
Oh, maybe it all started. Maybe it all started in Battlefield. Maybe that's what it is.
Oh God, come on! You cannot rant about this making no sense and then pull in Classic Who nonsense.
Doctor Who as Merlin returned.
Complete side thing. I saw on Instagram where somebody referred to Classic Who as Eccleston, and I'm like, what? How dare you, sir?
My headcanon says it did start with Battlefield.
Yeah.
Gross. Anyway.
Yeah.
Or at least it was already going by Battlefield time.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. With Merlin and all that. Well, that's intriguing, Chris. That you were kind of like at the end there. Then you were kind of let down like me. That's what you're saying. Then.
I just wanted to yell and scream at the TV.
I wasn't let down, but I also don't want to see it again because I don't want to be let down. Let's put it that. And I thought that at the time.
Yeah.
Another thing I thought randomly was that when they go to 2040, I'm like, oh, we made it that far, did we? And then we get to 2080 or whatever it is. I'm like,
I know.
I'm buying this even less. I don't buy that we don't nuke ourselves earlier. Yeah. Also, somebody said in the comment, and I thought the same thing while I was watching.
There was the comment about the 2031 whatever Russian
The Great Russian War didn't fire.
Yeah. So
seems a little late for that.
Somebody said in the comments, and I thought this at the time while watching it. Basically, they were saying something along the lines of, "I'm going to buy nukes off Pakistan." I'm like, but it's England. You probably sold them to them in the first place, like if at all. Like you have nukes. You're one of the 5 countries that does, or however many it is now.
Yeah.
So
I mean, not
higher than 5, alas.
So like how geopolitics is my sticking point.
Yeah.
Here.
Well, that's also your wheelhouse, dude.
That's true. Yeah.
Not to compare it to past showrunners, or not even past showrunners, but past writers and stuff like that. The one thing I love about Blink is that the Doctor is apparently like speaking gibberish on a VHS or DVD extra or something like that. DVD. And only at the end of the episode do we find out that it's actually one half of a conversation that's about to happen. That is perfect scening. That is how you seed in a weird, like seemingly odd person just sort of randomly talking into the conversation. And I wish that whatever motion she was doing, she was actually doing something. But it's nonsense. If you watch Unleash, it's just nonsense. She's just saying, "I love that."
Talking about the House Martins. Well, and Blink anyway.
Yeah, I mean, that's just what annoys me.
So
it's just,
Moffat's better at this.
He is,
but RTD is better at pulling you in emotionally with this stuff, I think.
I guess so. Yeah, maybe. There were seeds of this that I think could have been really good, and it was just left ambiguous because they could, and they didn't know how to get out of it.
You know what's great about it? No musical number.
It's true. That's true.
And the Susan Twist came earlier on.
That's true. And they even mentioned that, haven't I seen your supper before? Which, you know what, I find that interesting.
I like that they call attention to it.
This was the first episode they actually shot way back in December of 2022 is when they shot this. Yeah, I know, 1922. The fact that they knew like right then and there that they're going to see this Susan Twist actor throughout all the episodes, I thought was kind of interesting. But
so we don't know what the woman says. We don't know, strictly speaking, why people react the way they react. We don't know why they can't photograph the woman.
That too? Yeah, can't photograph her.
They also don't even say why it's 73 yards.
Don't even say why it's 73 yards. Why is it 73 yards? Because that's just the optimum. RTD says it's the optimum part where you could stand and like recognize that someone's there, but not actually see who they are. I guess that is why.
Maybe it ties into the Kate Stewart's line about typical person's 20/20 vision, whatever.
It's 73 yards.
I guess. Okay.
Apparently.
Well, I'm screwed. It's like 22 yards, maybe.
Yeah. And the thing is that like when you see the Unleashed and the actor playing, who is not the old Ruby actor, it's a different actor entirely, and she's got like this black line of makeup.
I don't understand what that was for.
Just to look more mysterious when they don't have to explain it. So that just completely ties in with everything in this whole episode. So, yeah. So apart from the entire whole premise of the episode, I thought that was pretty good. Yes.
I love the fake out with the pub where they're all being complete jerks to her just to be complete jerks to her, which I found quite funny.
How many?
Also that it happens organically. Like they're not they're not deciding in advance. They're not hush
they're
whispers.
Just like let's screw with somebody who visited. Why the hell not? But the pub owner is still a jerk.
Well, it's like Sean Phillips' character says, it's just racism.
Yeah. We're not that simple here in Wales.
And the interesting thing is, all those characters, I kind of want to know more about all of them. So they're doing something right there.
Right.
Especially the old lady with the beret or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Like, it was clearly like the town writer.
That's Sean Phillips, yeah.
I don't know if it's meant to be the same character or not, but the second time we go to the fairy circle and they don't step on it, did you notice that one of the rest in peace type messages was for Joshua?
For Josh. That wasn't at the fairy circle. That was at the TARDIS.
Oh, at the TARDIS. Yes.
That was at the TARDIS 65 years in the future. So clearly Josh dies at some point.
Yeah. Well, they never even explained why the Doctor isn't around.
And so what is the deal with I miss you? And
then he disappears.
Mad Jack rest in peace. Was that tying into the Doctor disappearing? Is that who wrote the message?
Did Mad Jack die after he ran away?
I chalk it up to just the fairy circle getting broken, and
circle
that affects the Doctor.
I mean,
the Doctor being the one who steps on it just gets, plopped out of existence.
I don't know why I'm the defender of this episode, since I'm the one who gets the most annoyed by RTDs. I'm waving my arms, but
There's a lot
for
of
some reason,
hand-waving.
I'm not annoyed by this in this one.
Yeah. Yeah, I am. I was annoyed by it a lot. I regret to say. I hate not liking Doctor Who episodes.
I know you do.
It's one of my least.
Rings of Akaton, I'm going to trigger you.
Oh, it's one of my least favorite emotions is hating a Doctor Who episode. I love the censorites. I would love to watch.
What is wrong with you, man?
Any Doctor Who episode, and when I watch one, then
I
watch
own these
it
guys,
again,
and I don't like them.
Yeah, and then to see everyone love it and say, "Oh, this is the best one in years," and everything like that, and I have to watch it again and go, "What did I miss? I am the problem here, right?" And
it's you.
It is me,
Ms. Swift.
It is me. It really is me.
The fairy circle would not just supernatural. I think that's just one of the watchwords of the episode.
We're just gonna have to buy it.
Why did it happen? Supernatural.
What I'm hoping is that this supernatural bent gets put back in the box at the end of the season.
I'm with you. I think it's again a Joe Phil card, honestly. Yeah.
Well, it hasn't really been out before, so that's just it. Do you put it back, or do you keep playing with the toy?
I want to put it away.
You can argue for both.
I suspect we're going to get a climax on our last episode, episode 8, and leading into the second season. So I don't think it's going to be put away. That's just my guess out of nowhere.
What if the old woman is actually Ruby's mom and drops her off at the church?
Like, maybe there's like.
What if Ruby dropped herself off at the church, which doesn't make any sense? Exactly. But hey, that doesn't seem to stop anyone.
That doesn't.
It's like Dave Lister being his own father.
That's true. And Red Dwarf. I mean, I was, we were talking, Erica liked it more than I did. She said so in the Doctor Who Flashcast on the Incomparable Network with our friend Chip and Jason Snell. And, we were talking about this episode in the car last night. And, she was explaining about how, like, even in D&D, because she's a D&D aficionado.
As am I.
Magic. Even though it's magic, there are still rules and boundaries, and
otherwise the game wouldn't work. So yeah,
exactly. Otherwise, and this feels like magic. It's just like, oh, it's supernatural. Therefore, anything can happen. And if anything can happen, then nothing really can happen. Like it just feels like, well, there's no boundaries, so we can just do whatever now. And that just feels like dramatically unsatisfying because you don't get stakes in a way.
Yesterday before watching Doctor Who, we were just eating supper and just killing some time because I didn't want to watch Doctor Who while eating.
Mm-hmm.
So
I can understand.
So I fire up Disney Plus and go to The Simpsons and put on the Stonecutters episode.
Nice.
And one of the elements there is when Homer is discovered as being the chosen one, everyone just lets him win at poker and they lift up the pool table so all the balls go in at once.
Yeah.
And like you talk about, Stephen, like if you're getting everything, then you're really getting nothing.
Exactly.
Beware the odds of March. No. One of my absolute favorite lines in all of Simpsons. No.
As somebody who is a little better versed in some of the supernatural element type things, not the TV show, thank goodness. But
Cat is, though. Cat knows it backwards and forwards.
Sorry, fans of all 15 seasons of Supernatural.
I invite Cat to talk about the supernatural elements on Verity when
she is an expert.
Yeah. You had notes there, Chris. You want to talk about those?
Yeah, sure. If we're ready for those.
Yeah.
No opening titles.
Yeah, that was cool. That was a nice touch, I thought.
Why though?
Well, okay, it's like Apocalypse Now.
I'm not sure why I
needed it. I'm really reach here.
I think it's so it doesn't take you out of anything.
Yeah, well, exactly. This is what happened with Apocalypse Now. When they released it for like the sneak preview or whatever in Hollywood in 1979, they had a lobby card with all the credits on it because they didn't want any credits whatsoever because they wanted it to all feel like a dream sequence kind of a thing. And I think the same thing is at play. And in fact, if you watch it now, all you see is copyright American Zoetrope at the end, right? And then the credits are on after that. So I think that's kind of I don't know if that's conscious or not, but I think that's the vibe they were going for.
Maybe it's all
kind of dreamlike.
It doesn't actually happen because there's no Doctor Who title
Not even that,
sequence.
just the more dreamlike feeling of it. So that then you get the end credits. I did notice no opening credits. I'm like, okay, that's kind of clever if they're doing what I think they're doing.
I would say it's so that they don't interrupt.
Where would you interrupt it? I kept waiting for an interrupting part.
Have it at the very beginning.
Okay. Yeah.
You could just have it at the start.
Yeah, but that's you going, I need to have my bookends.
I know. I'm just like, Is there a dramatic reason for it? I don't know if there was.
I think there was. I think it's to keep the dreamlike weirdness of it going.
And I didn't really make much for notes along this line, but I'm just going to bring it up now. Millie Gibson, what a performance!
Yeah, she was great. She was really good in that.
So
she was
amazing.
Like 18 when they literally like 18 or 19 when they shot.
She
this.
is punching so far above her weight and landing those punches.
Like imagine showing up. Hey, you're in Doctor Who now. You're the companion. However, day one, it's your show. So have at it.
This is kind of like, not to keep bringing Turn Left into this, but when Donna, why am I forgetting her name? Thank you. Catherine Tate. When she does Turn Left, you're like, and you know she could act, but man, oh man, do you see her acting and everybody else around her, right? So this is kind of the same thing where you're like, it's just like, by the way, did you know this person really can act? Well, now you do though, know that.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought she was really good. She was really great actually as older Ruby, like in her form. I feel like Stephen Moffat probably had a note and says, tell you what, can you put glasses on her? Was probably the note that Stephen Moffat put on. Like, I noticed that women in glasses are also a thing that makes them look older and stuff like that. Well, and I have a certain thing about
Moffat certainly has a
thing for that.
And I've said it before, I agree with most of Mr. Moffat's choices, so I wasn't complaining about this.
Yeah, that was...
Not that he actually had anything to do with this, but...
I do have a nit to pick with the costume designer for her glasses when she's 40. They're too big for her face.
I thought she played 40 well. Wasn't entirely convincing 40, but she played 40 well.
Yeah. That's twice her age, by the way. Just
more than
she was playing it well. I don't think the actual stuff they were doing to her
just
really
to make us feel old.
Yeah.
She was playing someone twice. She was playing her character twice her age, and she's still 10 years younger than us.
Oh well, here we are.
And then on a related note, what's his name? The director dude,
Dylan Holmes Williams.
Dylan Holmes Williams.
Yeah,
Matt Williams.
I know they have some great lenses, and I know they have some great cameras because they're using RALXs and whatnot. But man, some of those landscapes for Wales, so beautiful.
I mean, that's Wales doing half the work. I mean, probably.
I got to say though, I don't know if I liked the really close up shots from underneath the off kilter ones in the pub scene. I thought that was a little too far.
A little on the nose.
Okay,
a little on the nose.
I've got a little bit on that as well.
Yeah.
You know what else is on the nose? That sign. Welcome to Spooky Town.
Yeah, that's true. It's like welcome to Deadwood. It can't be like Happy Valley or something like that.
Well, if it's Happy Valley,
welcome to the Happy Squirrel. It's
that's the typical British thing. It's called Happy Valley. By the way, prepare to be very depressed.
That's true. Actually, I made Happy Valley. It's the most depressing cop show on Earth, apparently. But yeah,
the happiest valley on Earth.
Yeah, that's what they call it. Yeah.
Stephen, you called us out with the previews, but the Doctor very explicitly uttering the words, "the war between the land and the sea."
Yeah, right.
Now, if you want to get him mad at something, that might be what you could get mad at.
Subtle much?
I know. Just throw it in there, like Moffat throwing in his episode titles in that Radio Times interview. Mm-hmm. Yeah. The war between the land and the sea, of course. The potential spin-off.
Sea Devil spin-off. Five episodes.
5 episodes.
I think so.
Sea Devil spinoff is reported by the Mirror. It's 5 episodes something that is in that production thing. Yeah.
Will it be involved with magic? Will the Sea Devils get old and come back and start waving?
That could be it.
Vaguely?
Maybe the Sea Devils have been magic all along. Maybe that's what it is.
I've also seen people complain about Shooty having different costumes every time, and I'm like, this is great. I love the fact
this is what humans do.
He's got it's like we don't all dress like the Simpsons. We wear different stuff week to week, right?
Yeah. And he kind of dresses like Troughton in
Fury from the Deep.
Fury from the Deep.
Yeah,
when he's got an infinite closet, why wouldn't he use it?
Kind of reminded me of Sarah Jane Smith in Sontarn Experiment, actually, a little bit.
Yeah, good point.
Especially with the yellow color. Yeah, that was my first instinct.
And like everything else in the world, he wears it incredibly well.
Yeah. Yeah, as Kat says in the chat, these costumes are the real Disney money.
She's right.
It's like, we can go off to TJ Maxx and get Doctor Who some
TK Maxx in the UK.
TK Maxx,
which is like Teenage Hero Mutant Turtles or whatever they call it. They called it something different due to violence.
Yeah, Hero Not Ninja. Yep.
Oh, really?
All right, I'm going to move on.
Yeah, sorry.
Is this the first mention of the Doctor going for a pee?
Yeah, it is.
I'm pretty sure it is.
I thought to myself, Do Time Lords go pee? Have they moved beyond that?
Oh, like we've gone from like we can't have a TARDIS cake, birthday cake scene in, oddly enough, War in the Stones of Blood, which you mentioned earlier.
Yes.
Because then we have to say what happens when the Doctor gets rid of his food, to now the Doctor goes behind the TARDIS to pee, apparently, according to...
Can you imagine how stinky... as somebody who's walked through the odd Vancouver alley, that would be a smelly back of the TARDIS.
Just like, where is the bathroom?
Although I got a friend who's like, you smell that? That's a real city.
He gets down on the cliff edge and see if he can get 73 yards.
It's well done, Chris. Well done indeed.
That's why it's called.
We turned off the thumbs up things with the
Yeah,
we
did that.
But if there's ever been a time for it, that was it.
It does deserve it. Yep. Distance.
I'm getting a little ahead of myself with talking about the town because I have other stuff before that as well. But with the lead up and the trailer and all that, who expected like a clone of Countryside, Torchwood's Countryside?
Oddly enough, the woman who's in the pub, who runs the pub, also was in Countryside.
Oh, was she?
Enough. Yeah, apparently it was. I saw somebody tweet about
I
that.
wonder if that's coincidence or not.
That would be a hell of a thing.
I bet you it is coincidence, yeah. I bet you it's somebody getting employed twice.
Is it the same woman?
No.
Well, they're both in Wales.
Can you imagine remember when MASH was a thing back? Did people do this with MASH? 10 years of a show and they would tie stuff in back and forth? Because an actor was in an earlier MASH and then a later MASH as somebody else. Are they the same person?
Whenever Erica and I watch an episode of Midsummer Murders, and we look through IMDb to see where we recognize these actors from, it's a ritual for us. And then we often find in Midsummer Murders that like there is like one episode or one show that basically had 3 or 5 of the cast members of the Midsummer Murders also just happen to be in that same thing, and it's almost like with casting directors, okay, spin the wheel, let's see which show we're going to take the actors from this time. That's the one right there.
It's not a spinning of the wheel. It's casting directors knowing who they want to hire because they worked on them with something else. That's what it is.
Nice episode of
definitely a part of it.
Yeah.
The location scouting, fantastic, whatnot. But the one lone bent tree, by where the TARDIS lands, especially when it's used as a framing device, it's just pretty.
I wonder if that is that's got to be maybe a prop tree because it's.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Perfect.
I wouldn't be.
But honestly, though,
be a little too perfect, and again, the only one there as well.
That Welsh coast, though, man, I honestly thought like this has got to be fake.
And I wouldn't be surprised if that's parkland or something they can't really screw with, right? So they'd have to add a prop tree and then get rid of it.
That's true. I love that the brief shot of them on the train is actually them on the train. They had 90 seconds to load all their equipment on at a train stop because the trains wait for no one in Britain. And
if they show up at all.
Yeah, if they show up at all, which they did on time, and then they actually hired
Western though.
Yeah, they actually hired 2 cars, one for the crew and then one for the actual shot, and they for all of like 20 seconds of it. That's Disney money too. Having 81 seconds of total screen time for the camp last week. That's Disney money right there. But it looks good. It looks good.
Also,
it made the shot.
I thought her looking out and the woman. Future her or whatever being like that was really well done and effective where she's going on the train and you see just boom 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 like it really works, it's coming but it still works.
I suppose so. She's the Watcher, essentially. I mean, the Watcher made more sense. I wish there was a Nyssa voiceover, perhaps, at the end of the ferry service.
I thought of the Watcher at first, too. I was like, oh, it's the Watcher.
She was Ruby Sunday all the time.
And then I scolded myself.
Like
well, this is going to be where we're going to get the meme of Clara's hand everywhere in Pyramids of Mars. That'll be this.
Her holding the suit sex.
Meme creators, get on this, if they haven't already.
I found it interesting that Ruby talks about how she wouldn't get on a plane because she doesn't know what would happen to the woman. Would the woman die? Would she die? It's a bit of a head.
This is just me talking. I wouldn't be dating. Like I would not with that albatross around my neck. I would not be dating.
To the best of our knowledge, she only goes out with 3 guys the rest of her life, and the third one being a longer term relationship that
we see anyway.
That we see. Yep. What we got here? So one of the snowfalls is when Ruby is heading to the town. So after the Doctor is gone, Ruby recognizing Susan Twist as the hiker along the way.
Yeah.
Talked about that a little bit already.
We did already. Yeah, we did.
I have no idea how to pronounce Welsh, but Pren Marua or whatever. The pub translates to the dead wood.
Wood.
Stop
Only Ian McShane was in this episode. And
Swearing up a storm.
Yeah, that would have been a good reference.
Um,
Of Lovejoy fame, of course, not of Deadwood.
Sure. And John Wick.
Oh, is he in John Wick?
Oh, yeah. He's quite good.
He's
in
also
John
in
Wick.
Sexy Beast, too.
Yeah, he's great in that.
He's great in Sexy Beast. That's a good.
He's also in American Gods.
Sure. He wasn't. I watched 2 episodes of that, and I thought this is just too gross and grim.
I read the book, and I don't remember any of it. So
yeah,
it's a good book, but I don't remember it. It's 20 years ago.
I was turned off by the whole tone of it all, so I didn't watch it. Also, in 1 episode of Game of Thrones.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah,
which he referred to famously as bleeps and dragons. So somebody made a T-shirt with that. It's
oh, really?
Great. Yeah.
Wow. Well.
I loved the landlady effing around with Ruby about how do you pay with your phone?
Yeah.
that whole exchange was
Is it racist if it's the Welsh? I don't know.
Yeah.
Nationalist maybe, but I don't know if it's racist.
Like how many tourists come into this very off the beaten
probably
path?
very few.
Like they must have just been like waiting for a mark like this to come along. Like they probably only charged the locals like £1.50 or something for a Coke.
Well, it's not
to $5.
It's not going to be $5.
It's like going to Vegas
No.
where I paid $8 for water. Why? Because I had no choice.
Oh,
It's like I need to walk around this conference and I need to drink water. So I guess I'm paying $8, or rather the company is.
And then Josh chiming in with apparently next week we get Christianity.
Yeah.
I don't recommend it.
RTD being a very devout atheist, I'm sure that he was all over that line when he got to Reddit.
The thing I got to give RTD credit for is, unlike most atheists online, he's not a jerk about it most of the time. And I'm an atheist myself, but Richard Dawkins can just be quiet now. We don't need. We get it, sir.
Well, I haven't heard a lot from him in recent weeks.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
When Ruby's in the pub and she's just describing the fairy circle, like the cotton and the strings, whatever, she's just slowly walking through the pub and the camera just follows her like step for step. And I just thought it looked really, really, really gorgeous.
There are some cool shots. I love the when she walked into the campaign office and the camera just sort of slowly sort of pans around in one sort of take, and then I'll do anything. I'll hold coats. Boom, cut right to there. She's holding the coats. I just thought,
that was good. That was nice.
The cut. That was a
Jump
good
cuts.
one. Yeah.
Again, there was some,
cut.
RTD not known for a subtlety politically. Like there was some definite make Britain great again-esque stuff in that office.
Yeah.
Which is
very, very
I'm not complaining about it, but it is obvious.
As you pointed out earlier, that is very years and years.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh, extremely. Yeah. And again, like before our current stupidity, I would have gone, this is all completely ridiculous. Oh, yeah. It's pretty right on board actually with how dumb everything is.
Yeah.
The next shot I had noted was the slow motion close-ups of Ruby and Carla as Carla's driving or riding away in the cab. Mm-hmm. Just very effective.
Oh yeah, I was like, I feel so bad for her right now. Yeah.
Although I'm wondering, wow, she ran off and says, "Quick, get me a cab, get me out of here."
What could you possibly say to make your own mother hate you? I was just like, what?
Yeah.
Which
but that's just
works for me. I'm not going to get back in this debate, but yeah. Doesn't matter,
really,
I know.
As it says.
Yeah.
What else I got here? The camera pulling up through the window as the snow falls after Carla tells Ruby that her real mother didn't want her.
Yeah.
So second snowfall plus the just the shot in general just looked great.
Good shot. Well directed. Yep.
So there's a cue when I spent way too long on this last night. But when
that's
when Kate,
quite the preamble.
When Kate and Ruby are at the restaurant talking, there's a QR code on the table, ostensibly for the restaurant's menu. Man, I tried scanning that 8 ways from Sunday.
Yeah, I saw
and
people
just could not.
No, I saw that someone tried that and no, didn't do it.
I don't think it was a complete QR code because it just wouldn't even register as one on the phone.
Yeah.
And then the last thing I had for my notes was just I really liked Ruby's long game to get rid of Roger William. It's like because she plays that game for years and years and years and years with
years and years, you say
years and years and years So, but between the time that she signs up and the time that she, walks the 73 yards down the football pitch to have the woman talk to Ap William.
This is the moment where she knows it can happen. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It was all leading up to, or once she figured out some stuff anyway, it was all leading up to
she knew that she had to do something with Roger Ap William once she saw him on the TV. And then,
I when she's talking to the boyfriend dude in the bar, restaurant, whatever,
right.
And she's leaving, she's like, I'm going to save the world. I'm like, yeah, nice.
Yeah.
And she does.
I have three small tangential things. One,
Sure.
I know what she says. She says looms. She says looms. That makes everybody angry.
She says whatever the guy on the street who's lying on the street in the video for Radiohead's just says.
Yes, which I just watched before this.
That makes everyone lie down after he finally tells them. Yeah. Or perhaps I think what she actually says is that she knows the funniest joke in the world, and that anyone who listens to it will die laughing.
Maybe. But they don't die laughing. They just take off. My other two things are
Monty
Unleashed.
Python throwback there for you, but yeah.
I love it Unleashed that the woman who rented out the pub or got paid for it or whatever takes the time on a nationally broadcast, or at least iPlayer broadcast show, to talk smack about her hometown. I was like, beautiful. That's exactly what I would do.
That's Welsh. That's Welsh. That's like somebody shot in Edmonton or something like that.
Exactly.
Well,
or any small town. That's very small town behavior. And the other thing, I was of two minds when they showed the director trying to get those two photographers to get out of the shot.
Oh my God.
On the one hand, I totally get where the director's coming from. On the other hand, I have been not that guy, but I have been in similar, as a person who has to take photographs of stuff as a journalist. And when somebody comes up and tells me I can't do something, and I'm in a public place,
you're going to do it.
It's happened to me. It's happened to me. It's a guy who's taking a picture of a building, which I'm on a sidewalk. I'm perfectly within my rights to do. And some security guard came up and said, you have to delete those. I'm like, well, I'm just going to take more of them then. And they all sucked, by the way.
Yeah.
But I was just to be spiteful, I did it.
Speaking of supernatural, I remember you telling me, Warren, like whenever in Vancouver, they'd be like blocking off a city block to do some shooting or something like that. It's just, you would just like, nope, Karen, right?
That was more fringe than anything else. And I would make a point of looking through the camera.
Fringe.
Some PA was yelling, do not look at the camera. I'm like, oh, that sounds like a dare to me, my friend.
I heard, look at the camera is what I heard.
Yeah, exactly. Do not look. I mean, you're a PA, first of all, sir.
Yeah.
Even in the realm of film, you are low down the ladder.
Way low. Yeah.
Anyway, so that's my little bits there of Unleashed Glee. Unleashed was a lot of fun, especially this is the first one he was in.
First one.
Stefan Powell.
They did, certainly
Powell.
they did Church on Ruby Road. No, maybe they didn't. When did they shoot Church on Ruby Road? Was that after this as well?
Yes.
This
was.
Yeah.
Wow. Like first day on.
So he's talking about people milling behind him. He hasn't met them yet, but you've seen stuff where he has, which was kind of interesting.
I'm trying to, so this is shot, they first started shooting this before, like in October. Like planning it out and stuff, according to the Unleashed, which is before Power of the Doctor even aired, and before it even was announced that Disney Plus is going to be on board, and so this has been in the works for a long time.
Block 1 for Dylan Holmes Williams was 73 yards and Dot and Bubble.
Okay, wow.
Block 2 with Mark Tondrai was Church on Ruby Road.
Oh, okay. Wow. First
so Ruby Road was after this, yeah.
So they did do obviously the Tenet specials before this.
Yes.
Yeah, that was done. But wow.
Yeah.
So next week might be a Doctor-ish light episode as well, potentially, given that he was off shooting Sex Education at the time. Maybe.
I guess we'll find out.
Yeah, you can see kind of why, like in interviews, Ncuti Gatwa has sort of said how it took him a while to sort of like really feel like he was, owning the character a little bit, because he literally was not owning the character. He was off doing something entirely different.
Yeah.
And having to kind of like double bank, stuff,
As we kind of talked about last week, he really seemed to own it by the time they shot Boom, which was Block 3 with Space Babies.
Conversely, can you imagine, like, the guy's a professional, I'm sure he could do this, but being in Sex Education and going, I'm the doctor. I would have a hard time dealing with that. I don't know how far back it was that he knew that, probably a while, but...
Well, I mean, it was announced in May of 2022, right? May of 2022, yeah. Because we were all wondering who would show up, who would Jodie Whittaker regenerate into at the end of Power of the Doctor. So we knew by then. So he knew it was out there already, and then I think they immediately shot stuff like right after. I think they basically shot his scenes, I think, in The Giggle, like right after they announced him, basically. I think is how it kind of worked. I think it's how it worked.
Wasn't that July when they shot?
Or is it July? It was July. That's right. It was July. It was July in 2022. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
That's true.
I seem to remember that's when all the stuff about like just Tate being seen with filming and yeah,
and all that nonsense. Yeah. Well, the episode's just ending here now on my. But I did press play a little later because I was busy mid-rant. But
our tradition continues.
I'm glad
going
a lot
longer than the show.
Well, no, because I pressed play later. I'm glad a lot of you liked it. Maybe I'll come around to it, but I don't know if I will. I still don't like Girl in the Fireplace.
You know what I like better? This better than Devil's Chord.
I liked a lot of Devil's Chord, apart from that last song, of course.
I definitely preferred this to Devil's Chord.
Yeah, I'm with Chris.
I liked it. Yeah, I like the spooky feel of it. I guess. I just don't. Yeah, I've already stated my piece. I don't want to talk about it anymore.
I'm not going to scroll back to find it, but there was a remark in the chat for the live stream a little bit ago about like witchcraft and supernatural stuff and whatever.
Mm-hmm.
How they didn't want it to become real within the confines of the show. Like, oh, now this all exists now, and I don't think we're on the precipice of that happening, but
depends how you handle it. That's basically
I don't think a little dalliance into that side of things is necessarily a bad thing.
I mean, they've always kind of done that with classic stuff.
I don't know if it's better or worse that we had that in Torchwood, but we had the fairies in Torchwood. We had the perceived baddie in Countryside that turned out obviously to be quite different.
A pure historical, as we said at the time, was Countryside. It's just weirdo Welsh cannibals, which is one of my. I saw actually weirdo Welsh cannibals open up for Arctic Monkeys one day, but
or like Abaddon at the end of season.
That is really dumb.
Oh, I remember Abaddon.
I'm still bitter about that. How much better that previous episode was, and then here we go. Here's old man King Kong running around.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Anybody ever watch Renegade Now? By the way, it's
no.
the one thing that is always
there were
always recommended.
You might like The Mandalorian.
The credits,
you don't say Disney
the credits
Plus.
shrink. Renegade Now is always up there. Part of me just wants to watch Renegade Now just to get it out of the way so that they can suggest something.
No, then you'll go further down the rabbit hole to be some other historical.
Yeah.
Well, you might want to watch it closer to the Regency episode. Maybe, I don't know.
I want to watch The French Connection. Why don't you put up The French Connection right after that? Disney, if you're going to suggest things to me, know me better.
We had a pre-show rant about this. And by the way, people, if I haven't said this before, I probably have. Amazon is a gold mine of old crap. All of it from 2024, according to their algorithm.
Even there's even some good old BBC stuff on Amazon.
But there's if you like old movies, there's so much good 70s stuff on there. You got to dig for it, but it's there.
My favorite.
And then your algorithm becomes, here's some more 70s crap.
Yeah, my favorite area. About 47:15. Now the international voice credits have popped up here. So, is that it then? Are we putting?
So, yeah.
Are we punting on 73 yards? So to speak?
Next week,
73-yard punt is a pretty good punt. Dot and Bubble is next week. Yeah,
it was very colorful
later on. But
I was getting Smile vibes off it.
I don't know what to expect from that one. Although I've heard good things about Dot and Bubble now too, so I'm thinking, oh well, this is gonna suck. Although maybe not.
Yeah. Well, before everything kicked off, we had a couple folks we know. I'm not going to name names, obviously. Who had seen stuff prior to BBC broadcast and whatever, and gave rundowns of their thoughts. And now I'm curious to go back and see what they said about
spoiler-free
73 yards.
So yeah,
spoiler-free, yes, but
spoiler-free.
But I was curious to go back and see what they thought of 73 yards at this point. If they were more of a Stephen or more of a Warren. I definitely did enjoy it. Yes,
I've said it before.
Bottom line, overall, definite enjoyment. Absolutely, yes. But it's not problem free.
But you're not wrong. But also, this is again I'm supposedly the contrarian, but no, things have shifted.
Yeah, it's magic, Warren. Somebody stepped on a fairy circle, and now everything's different. And now you like things, and Chris and I are the ones that didn't like an episode of Doctor Who. And
there's plenty I don't like. I'm just not as vocal about it.
I don't know if Eric is going to be on the recording of Verity for this one or not. I don't know if Kat is either, for that matter.
Right.
But I'll not talk about their opinions.
No. Tell you what, though, maybe I'll go back into Doctor Who magazine and read about what their preview of 73 Yards had to say. A new issue is out. They preview actually 4, 5, 6, and 7 in this one. Including Rogues and Renegades, which is on the cover. Boy, everyone's looking forward to that one. The Regency episode with Jonathan Groff, and Shooty got one in Regency gear.
I love how
all Bridgerton
snobby and Shooty looks like here. He's just like, no, quite so. Yes, that's a good way to put it. He just that picture looks like he's saying, ew.
Yeah, a lot of people are looking forward to that one. Anyway, there's a lot of good stuff in there. Simon Gary is writing a lot for Doctor Who magazine these days, which is good for him. Good for him.
Every time a new issue of Doctor Who magazine comes out, I look at Simon's blog, and like he'll always post about like if he's done a podcast interview or written this, written that, done Doctor Who magazine articles, whatever. Right. And then invariably there's, this is what I did in this month's Doctor Who magazine.
Yeah. Good for him.
Prolific writer, that man.
I like his writing. And I like that. I miss that they don't do what's the thing at the end? I forget the name of it. It was very much in keeping with the Who Graphica stuff. Sufficient data is what it's called. Basically, an infographic, 1-page infographic at the end of each page. They don't do that anymore because basically he's been writing so much for this. So, but it's pretty cool. Simon Guerrier stuff in Doctor Who magazine. So. Whether or not he writes something in the next special edition of Doctor Who magazine is unclear. That's the Print the Legend, all about Doctor Who Target novelization. The complete story of Doctor Who novelizations with a free CD audiobook. Probably the CD audiobook won't come with the PDF version, is what I'm thinking. It's tough to compress.
I suspect you're probably right. Yeah.
Yeah, but that's coming out June 6th. You know what else is coming, Chris? Warren, less so for you because you don't care about this sort of thing. Mm-hmm. Next month, so almost like a week, less than 2 weeks. Fingers crossed. We're going to get season 20 in this country. Can you believe it? Season 20 is still coming out June 4th.
But I don't expect BBC Shop to get it to me in any reasonable
I know. I ordered it from the BBC Shop literally 3 British prime ministers ago. It feels like at this point.
And soon to be 4.
Only a week ago?
Only a week ago. Literally in I don't.
My money's on the lettuce, by the way.
A year ago. I literally ordered it a year ago.
Gone.
Yeah, and it's still June 4th. It says it right there, and I'm home. I even got an email from the Amazon people that the expected shipping date for the Celestial Toy Maker is June 11th. That's actually a thing. That's in.
You've never said anything more old mash. I got a message from the Amazon.
From the Amazon people. And so that's exciting. So within we haven't had a physical release in months. Daleks in Color, I guess, came out. But then in the space of 8 days, we're probably, hopefully, going to get a Doctor Who season 20
When's 15
set.
supposed to be coming out? I ask this every time.
July 9th. July the 9th.
Because I forgot I ordered it, but I did in fact order it.
Tripods. So. Yeah. But Amazon still hasn't put out a release date for that. So
I think I need to buy a Blu-ray player because I think the disc drive in my Xbox One is not properly functional.
Oh no!
I still haven't watched season 9. Still haven't watched season 2. I started to watch season 2, and it would just crap out. Everything I tried to play would just crap out after a couple of minutes. So I'm worried the drive might be dying. So maybe this is the catalyst for me to buy a 4K region free dealie. So
let me tell you, 625 line British videotape does not look any better than when on 4K. So
I have a Series S, so try playing a DVD on that. But I also have a PS5. And you know how many 4K Blu-rays I have? None. Not one.
I say none.
Not one. I have yet to get one.
But there are a few out there
I barely play the PS5, to be honest with you, other than the Doctor Who VR game.
So
$2,000 Edge of Reality box is what it has become.
One of my favorite films is Hackers. Don't at me.
No, it's a guilty pleasure. I understand.
Some of us like 73 yards.
I had the DVD back in the day before I moved to Britain, sold all my DVDs and whatever. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, I should really just buy another copy. So there's a 4K Blu-ray copy of it. I haven't bought it yet. Because Amazon wants $50 for it, and it's not worth $50.
Hey, Chris, like what you like. Nobody's capping on you for this.
But there's a thing on iTunes from MGM where you could get 100 movies for $100. And Hackers was one. Hackers was one of them. So I dropped $100
You should provide adequate sustenance for the Doctor Who marathon.
Nicely played.
So I dropped $100 on 100 MGM films, and we watched, I don't know, 3, 4, 5 maybe.
Right.
So I have a digital copy of Hackers legally now.
Okay.
One thing. Chris.
One of the first things I'll probably buy if I get a 4K Blu-ray player is Hackers, and then I think it's already out by now, but Trainspotting had a 4K Blu-ray release.
I saw that.
I greatly covet.
One thing I like about iTunes, and I know it doesn't look as good as a Blu-ray, I know, but they will upgrade you to 4K if something is in 4K. So I bought and you know how much of a stickler I am for this, the theatrical editions of Fellowship and Two Towers and all, and they just magically became 4K, and I'm like, all right, thanks iTunes, awesome.
Yeah, my Mad Max Beyond Fury Road automatically added the black and white, black and chrome version. I should say.
Oh wow, I should check because I bought that too on iTunes.
Like years ago when it came on is when.
So I like that. I wish there'd be more bonus stuff. Maybe that's the studio's fault for not making it, but
yeah. What I love, speaking of, just as a complete side tangent, so we wanted to watch Dead Again, the Derek Jacobi film from 1991, and we couldn't find it streaming anywhere, but it's on sale as part of a 4-movie bundle, and I thought, okay, let's see what it's got. So Dead Again came with Clue, the movie.
Great film.
Right. Murder on the Orient Express, the original one from 1974.
Nice.
Yeah, Albert Finney.
Nice.
And Narc.
Which I barely remember.
With like Ray Liotta and like Jason Patrick.
I knew those guys were in it, but I don't remember anything else. I might have even seen it, but I don't remember anything about it.
Where did you get that to put in Narc? That makes about as much.
We own it. That's what that is. It's like,
I guess so.
That's like the opposite of zombie IP, which you sent me a thing about, where they just like, well, we own the mastermind, the Parker Brothers game, so now here's a movie about it. So that's kind of that. It's like, we got to sell Narc somewhere. Just throw it in here.
R.I.P. Ray Liotta. Yeah. Anyway, hey, let's talk about just on the official document.
$35
for what?
Clue, Murder on the Orient Express, Dead Again, and Narc.
It's a pretty good deal, actually.
Yeah.
How much do they want? It's $5 for Dead Again on its own.
Is it really? Oh,
that's what it says here. Buy $4.99, rent $4.99.
There's nothing old people do more than complain about how much something costs.
All right.
From their youth.
At the time it was 15.
Okay, 15 is worthwhile then.
And we paid like maybe $20 for the whole thing or something like that.
Yeah. Okay.
So anyway.
Well, there's a reason the commentary on the live stream is dried up. It's because nobody cares about this but us.
Right, exactly. Hey, over on the official Doctor Who YouTube page, today I learned that Chris Allen on Twitter is the one who instituted that way back when. Well done, Chris Allen. There is a great behind-the-scenes featurette on the LED effects with Billy Brooks from Pixamondo going through it. And it's cool because they actually move the police box away from it, and you can see the LED portion of the screen,
cutout kind of thing,
which is the TARDIS control room, which is really cool.
Yeah, I mentioned that last time because they have to figure out the parallax.
Yeah, and like crazy. It looks so good. And there were even shots like in the background of like fire that wasn't like actual live on set fire.
That's Unreal Engine fire. Yeah,
really cool. Yeah, I mean there were a couple times like the skyline. I could kind of think it's a slight unreal, literally unreal aspect to it, but it's a fascinating little featurette. So links to the show notes, radiofreeskaro.com.
I saw somebody online going, well, now movies are so easy to make because of Unreal Engine. I'm like, no. I have undownloaded and screwed around with Unreal Engine. They're no easier to make.
Yeah, I can't.
They're just differently difficult.
Very difficult.
Like, and I'm vaguely familiar with this stuff, but I still was like, this seems like a lot of work I'm not going to put into it.
Yeah. Hey, are you in the UK around June 21st? Well, you can go see the 2-part finale in cinemas in the UK, Legend of Ruby Sunday and Empire of Death. Legend of Ruby Sunday will actually drop on the week before, but and it's at 11 p.m. so you can watch Legend of Ruby Sunday, and then literally, you're not going to get it early. You're gonna watch it basically at midnight. So you can watch it in cinemas in the UK.
Kind of cool if we could do that too.
Yeah, we can't.
I doubt it, but
Disney says no.
Yeah, it's kind of a throwback to Day of the Doctor, because when we got Day of the Doctor, it was not before the BBC broadcast. Like, it was when it started in cinemas.
94 countries dropped
at that same time.
Still my best cinema experience of all time.
Yeah, me too.
And I saw Star Wars when it came out.
It's slightly weighted though because it's Doctor Who.
Oh, of course it is.
You know?
Absolutely it is. But being in it, I've never been in an audience more excited. I mean, Avengers Endgame's close, but even that's not the same thing as this. Yeah, I know you don't care about it, but I'm talking about a group of people in the theater very jazzed to be there.
I know that's.
But even so, Day of the Doctor was more that.
I saw reaction videos after the fact of like when all the Avengers, spoilers for Avengers Endgame, all the Avengers turn up, and the theater's going crazy.
It's fun to watch those reactions.
And then like I was there opening night in Edmonton. It's like. There was nothing like that.
So my tangent is I was in opening night for Infinity War and Endgame, and Endgame was a lot more sedate in my theater.
Yeah.
Than but I wasn't there for like midnight or anything. But Infinity War, people were going bananas, like absolutely, and it was great. And at one point, this guy's yelling when Captain America comes up and does something. He goes, "That's my boy!" And I was like, I can get mad about this. But no, I'm old enough to go, this guy's excited. It's your boy. That's cool.
Yeah, that's all
like,
right.
whatever. Everybody's losing their minds. Like, it was a lot of fun.
You're ruining it for everybody else.
Thor shows up and the theater lost their minds. And it was a lot of fun to be there when that happened. I know you don't care.
No.
But it is. But it's like sports. This is my sports.
That's true. That's true. That's your sports one.
Yeah.
And then until you got tired of it. But
yeah, but still, it's the same feeling that we're talking about here.
That's true. Would you believe that Doctor Who has wrapped production on season 2? Where RTD posted a photo of from the somewhat sedate-looking wrap party. I feel like Shooty and Millie are long gone. I feel like they left. I can't remember the actor's name who plays Clara, her mom in the show, but it was RTD and her in a selfie overlooking Cardiff Bay or something like that at the wrap party. So they officially Carla.
Not
Time
Clara.
to start some rumors.
Michelle Greenidge.
Some production rumors with no basis in fact.
Yeah. So obviously, so that happened like literally. Like RTD posted that this morning on the Saturday that we're recording this. So obviously Monday they will be rolling right into production of The War Between the Land and the Sea, the 5-part Sea Devil spinoff. I'm making that up, but maybe they are. We'll see. I know there's.
Watch this space next week.
I suppose so. I know there are like casting calls and shootings, like maybe public shooting stuff in Wales, and that might mean anything. It might not be Doctor Who, of course, but it could be something in there. But some follow up on last week. So of course we mentioned in the InVision commentary for Boom, which is one of the greatest pieces of Doctor Who VAM ever created.
Absolutely. Although the Unleashed is pretty good too.
The Unleashed is pretty good too, but it has Stephen Moffat and Russell T Davies and producer Joel Collins in that. And Joel Collins mentions that he grew up and remembers a place called Pertwee's Burgers, and so people did some sleuthing on this and found that it wasn't Pertwee's Burgers per se; it was Pertwee's Takeaway. We talked about it last week, but then a photo of a newspaper article from back in the day. Was seen with, I think, Walter Randall and John Pertwee. Sure enough, wearing like their little diner hats and T-shirts with Pertwee's Takeaway logos on it. Well, our friend Graham Kibblewhite on his Redbubble store has taken that artwork on there and turned it into an actual artwork that you can buy on his Redbubble store in black, blue, and red.
I was tempted.
Colors. That you can put on a T-shirt and you can act just like.
I love how Redbubble has very beautiful people wearing very silly things.
It is, yeah. So,
Stephen, I trust you've ordered one for Galley next year.
I haven't yet because I hope to be slightly smaller. I'll be 50 next year. My main hope is to maybe lose a little weight before.
I thought about it myself,
and maybe I could wear a slimmer shirt then. But who knows?
I thought about myself, but by that time, several memes will have passed that are more entertaining. Also, I'd rather create my own meme like I did last year.
That's true. It is commitment to the bit though, and we applaud Graham for that. But links to the show notes, Redbubble story, and get your own Pertwee's Takeaway shirt, which is quite frankly awesome. One last bit of Big Finish news before we get the hell out of here. Time War Uncharted 1 Reflections is coming October 2024.
The Phantom Zone.
Look at that Phantom Zone. Looks like the people from the Superman,
Forgive me.
Right? There we go. The one true Superman movie.
That's true.
Superman 2.
Absolutely not.
with Terrence Stamp. Why can't I wish Terrence Stamp would be in Doctor Who. I love Terrence Stamp, but he's not in this either. Paul McGann is, though. Emma
Nope,
Campbell.
You got to watch
Jones.
Smallville to see anything with him.
Oh, is that a fact? No, it's too bad. Or
he is
The
Chancellor
Hit.
Valorum.
He is that. He's also stars in The Hit with John Hurt from 1984. I have that on Criterion Blu-ray. Very first movie I dubbed way back in Movie Central. Back when I started.
I don't remember
there
what the first one I dubbed
2000 was. Yeah, it was that. So off of 1-inch tape. So there you go. That's it. That's it for this episode. Next week, for those of you joining us in the live stream, Saturday, June the 1st. 9 a.m. Pacific, noon Eastern, 5 p.m. in the UK. We will do our review of Dot and Bubble. Bubble? Dot and Bubble.
Dot and Tuttle. It's actually Brazil tie-in.
Yep. Episode 5 of Season 1 of Doctor Who on Disney+. So we will speak to you then. Until next time, I am Stephen in Edmonton.
Born in Vancouver.
And Chris in Edmonton.
So long for now.